The handful of coins scattered across the polished café floor with a sharp metallic clatter, echoing through the busy Starbucks in downtown Seattle, Washington. Every conversation stopped. Customers turned their heads as a tall, exhausted single father stood frozen beside the counter, staring at the money he had spent weeks saving just to buy breakfast for his little daughter. The manager folded his arms and smirked before loudly telling him to pick it up if he wanted his order. No one knew that within minutes, the entire store would fall into a silence so heavy that even the coffee machine seemed to stop humming, and the man everyone had mocked would become the reason strangers questioned how they judged people forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness matters more than appearances and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who believes in compassion, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts every day. The father's name was Michael Carter, a hardworking construction laborer who had spent the last 3 years raising his 8-year-old daughter Grace completely on his own. Even after exhausting days, he still found the energy to help with homework, cook simple dinners, and tell bedtime stories that always ended with hope, even when he barely believed in it himself. Money was painfully tight. Every dollar had a purpose. Rent came first, groceries second, utilities third, and whatever remained went toward Grace's school supplies or emergencies. Michael hadn't bought new clothes for himself in over 2 years. His worn green work jacket carried stains from cement and paint that refused to disappear. His boots had been repaired so many times that the soles no longer matched. Yet Grace never complained because she knew every sacrifice her father made was for her future. That particular Saturday morning was special. Grace had earned the highest reading score in her class, and her teacher had written a note saying she should be proud because her determination reminded everyone that difficult circumstances never define someone's future. Michael wanted to celebrate the only way he could afford. He had quietly collected spare change in an old glass jar for nearly a month so he could surprise Grace with pancakes and hot chocolate before taking her to the public library. Grace's eyes sparkled with excitement as they walked into the busy Starbucks near the shopping district. Families laughed around wooden tables while professionals hurried in and out with steaming cups of coffee. Michael smiled despite feeling slightly embarrassed by his dusty work clothes. He wanted his daughter to enjoy one happy morning without worrying about bills or responsibilities. When it was finally his turn at the register, he carefully placed his order before reaching into his worn leather wallet. Instead of credit cards, he pulled out neatly stacked quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies that he had counted several times at home. The manager, Bradley Morgan, watched impatiently from behind the register. His expression quickly turned into visible annoyance. As customers waited behind Michael, Bradley rolled his eyes dramatically before making a sarcastic remark loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. A few uncomfortable chuckles spread through the line while Michael's face flushed with embarrassment. Then everything changed. The carefully counted coins flew through the air before crashing onto the floor. They bounced beneath tables, rolled toward the entrance, and scattered in every direction. Grace gasped as tears immediately filled her eyes. Michael looked down silently at the savings he had spent weeks collecting. Without any sympathy, Bradley pointed toward the floor and mockingly told him to pick it all up before wasting everyone else's time. The café became painfully quiet. Some customers looked away because they didn't want to get involved. Others stared at Michael with pity. Grace squeezed her father's hand, trying to be brave even though her small heart was breaking. Michael slowly bent down and began gathering the coins one by one. His rough hands trembled, not because of anger but because humiliation hurt more than exhaustion ever could. Every coin represented an hour of sacrifice, skipped meals, or overtime shifts. An elderly woman named Margaret Collins, sitting near the window, quietly stood and helped collect a few quarters. Soon a college student named Nathan Brooks joined her. Then another customer. Within moments, several strangers were kneeling beside Michael, silently picking up coins. Bradley frowned, irritated that people had stopped ordering. Just then the front doors opened. Two uniformed police officers entered, followed by a sharply dressed man in a navy suit. At first, several customers assumed they were simply stopping for coffee. Instead, the suited man walked directly toward Michael. His eyes widened with disbelief. Months earlier, Michael had been working at a highway construction site when he noticed smoke pouring from an overturned pickup truck after a terrible accident. Without thinking about his own safety, he had rushed into the wreckage and pulled an unconscious stranger to safety seconds before the engine burst into flames. Michael never waited for recognition. After paramedics arrived, he quietly returned to work because missing a day's wages wasn't an option. The stranger he had rescued that day was standing in front of him now. His name was Jonathan Hayes, the regional president of the company that owned dozens of Starbucks franchises across Washington state. He had spent months trying to identify the construction worker who had saved his life. Security cameras from the accident had captured only blurry images, but one of the responding officers recognized Michael the moment he walked into the café. Jonathan looked at the scattered coins on the floor before looking at Bradley. He didn't ask what happened. He already knew. Customers who had witnessed everything quietly explained the humiliation Michael had endured. The smile disappeared from Jonathan's face. He gently helped Michael stand before embracing him in front of everyone. His voice shook as he thanked the man who had given him another chance to watch his own children grow up. The entire cafe fell completely silent. Bradley suddenly realized the man he had mocked wasn't just another customer struggling to pay. He was the hero responsible for saving his employer's life. Jonathan calmly asked Bradley one simple question. How much is dignity worth? Bradley couldn't answer. Jonathan then apologized directly to Michael and Grace for what had happened inside one of his stores. He explained that no customer should ever be judged by clothing, appearance, or the way they paid. Right there in front of stunned employees and customers, Bradley was removed from his managerial duties pending a full investigation into his behavior and treatment of customers. But Michael did something no one expected. He asked Jonathan not to ruin another person's life out of anger. Michael explained that accountability mattered, but revenge never healed wounded hearts. He hoped Bradley would learn compassion instead of carrying resentment. Those words affected everyone more deeply than the Instead of breakfast for two, the cafe prepared a celebration for everyone present. Pancakes, pastries, hot chocolate, and coffee filled every table. Grace smiled brighter than she had in months. For the first time since losing her mother, Michael allowed himself to believe life might finally become a little kinder. Jonathan later established a scholarship in Grace's mother's memory to support children being raised by single parents. Michael refused expensive gifts or luxury cars, asking only for opportunities to earn an honest living. Jonathan instead offered him a supervisory position within one of his construction development projects, recognizing not only his work ethic but also his extraordinary character. Months later, Michael stood in the same cafe wearing clean work clothes and a confident smile. Several employees recognized him immediately and greeted him warmly. Bradley, after completing extensive community service and customer care training, quietly approached Michael to offer a sincere apology. This time, Michael accepted it with grace, proving that forgiveness often changes two lives instead of one. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes that kindness can change the world. Your support allows more inspiring stories like this to reach people who may need hope today. Special request: before you leave, please comment with the words, "Kindness costs nothing," if you believe we should never judge a person by their appearance, their clothes, or the way they pay. As Michael and Grace walked out into the bright Seattle sunshine, hand in hand with warm breakfasts and hopeful hearts, everyone inside the cafe understood a lesson that would stay with them forever. Wealth can impress people, power can silence a room, but true character is revealed by how we treat someone who appears to have nothing. On that unforgettable morning, a handful of scattered coins became a priceless reminder that respect is free, compassion is powerful, and one act of kindness can echo through countless lives long after the last coin has been picked up.
الله أكبر الله أكبر